look, Hatebeast has dropped, so this is a post-drop pre-reveal analysis. Now, before I go on, I'm going to say that this is a bit of fun. It's not financial advice. You have to do your own research before jumping in. So with this, Hatebeast has dropped. They've minted 7,964 out of the 8,192. And yes, full disclosure, I do have two, so I can be considered as pumping my own bag. Now, right before the drop, I actually released a price prediction video. Now, the funny thing about this video is that I actually gave a price prediction and then I got so much crap in the comments before the actual drop happened, but then I got a lot of comments afterwards going, hey, you were spot on. Now, in the video, I drew this chart. Now, this chart was just a squiggly line, me kind of guessing where Hatebeast could go after the drop, so between mint day and reveal. Now, what you can actually see here is where has it actually gone? It kind of hit the 9, went down to sort of 4.34, then it's been bouncing around and we're kind of on day 3 now. So if we head back to the screenshot, I said it'd go up to 8, down to 4.3, then it'll kind of hit some resistance around 10, down to 9, then up to 12 to 13. So I'm not saying I know the future. If I knew the future, I would load up all of my bags and I would make a killing. But what I'm saying here is just look at this as a bit of fun. This is like picking a horse with a fun name and just putting a couple bucks on it and running around the track. I drew a line, recognizing patterns, and then kind of moving into this. So take that into account. When you see this, leave as many hate comments as you want, but at the moment, I'm winning. Anyway, let's jump into the statistics. So when we actually jump into OpenSea to get a snapshot, we've got the 6,300 owners, floor price of 7.77. It's been hitting up around this kind of 8 mark for a while now. So we can see it's floating between sort of 7.5 and 8. Now I'm going to head over onto Icy Tools to give you a run of the price over the past few days. So we can see that it kind of ran up. There was one sale at 10 ETH and I've actually got a screenshot of it. Big thanks to NFT Pastor for sending that through to me. It then dropped down to that sort of 4.3 mark. It then bounced back up to the 7. Now what I'm noticing here is that we were hitting a bit of a resistance at 7. Then once we pumped through the 7, it ran up. Then the 7 ETH mark ended up becoming a support. Now it became a support because we can see it touch here and we can also see it touching here. So where I'm actually thinking that we're currently at right now is we've broken through the support that was 7. Now we're kind of hitting a resistance at around this 8 ETH mark. Now we do have essentially about 2 more days until this is completely done and run, and then they will kind of announce the reveal date, but that's kind of where the price is sitting. Now, if we head on over to Nansen, we can get a breakdown of the holders and some of the top balances. So the top holder, 55, then 52, and the top sort of 15 round out at 7. So the top 3 holders hold almost 150 hapes, and then after that, it drops off quite heavily. So it shows that the top holders are very confident in this project long term and they want to hold in. One skepticism I can have with this is the fact that with holding 55, they can kind of dump onto the market and kind of make sure that there is a price ceiling. So if we are kind of getting close to a 10 ETH mark, they could start layering out to that. Or post reveal, they could dump onto the market some of the less rare ones and then kind of sort of keep the price quite low. So I'm not quite happy with that distribution. Saying that, if it was around that 150 to 200 mark, then I'll be very worried. But what I'm kind of saying here is that this isn't a bad distribution, but it isn't a good one. It's just kind of sitting middle of the road. When we have a look at the top balances over time, they just keep adding and accumulating to their bag. And then when we have a look at smart money over time, they're apart from this one outlier, they're essentially holding on strong and running through it. Now, when it comes down to the unique addresses, there's not much we can take away from this currently because at the moment, the mint is still running out and there's still 200 to go. So even though it looks like the distribution may be going into the hands of more and more people, the fact that the unique addresses are kind of adding in, it just means that people are kind of minting into the project. So the difference between a 6,250 and 6,297, those sort of essentially 50 new holders, they could have actually been 100 new holders that came in, then sold their hate for a quick flip, and it's gone to other holders that actually already have them. So those top balances. So we can't actually take away any information about the unique addresses because the mint is still live. When we have a look at the percentage holding one NFT, this really excites me. We're sitting at 83%. So this shows that it's very strong and that the community is holding onto it, and that it's very community kind of held, which means that if someone wants to sell their NFT, they are going to be out of that community. So with the team doing such a great job, this I can feel that camaraderie and family being built. And this was evident when you were in the sort of the chats in Hypebeast with the people that were Hype listed. You could feel this sense of camaraderie around this project, which I think is very good and very nice to see. Now, coming down to the profit leaderboard, the top profit taker, 23 ETH. Then we've got 17, and then it kind of rounds out at 15. Now, this makes sense because at the current price point of around that 7.5, it's meaning that people are kind of buying two, selling to, essentially. There are a few little outliers. So essentially the majority of profit takers here are people that have exited the project completely. Now, I'm not going to hate on anyone for taking profits because I have spoken to a few people that have actually exited the project, taken profits, but for them, this is life-changing money. This is 2, 3, 4 years worth of wages for them because they're in parts of the world that have a lower cost of living, and I can't hate on someone for that. And like I've heard other people say, when someone sells, it just gives the chance and an opportunity for someone else to be brought into the family. So heading over to the top 5 buying addresses, we can get an idea of where these holders actually see value in the project and where you could actually get in at a discount if there is a drop. We can see here that it follows the exact trajectory of the price market, and we can see that there is a big clump around this sort of 4.8 mark. So if Hype ever did get down to around this 5 ETH mark, you'll be getting in on par with the top 5 buying addresses, saying that they are still accumulating even as it rises up. Having a look at where the smart money has bought in, the smart money were on the minting list, so we'll ignore those bottom ones, and it looks like the same kind of deal with the top 5 buying addresses around that sort of 5 ETH mark, but it does kind of stack up to around that 7. And then when we get to the recent transactions to see how fast things are moving, what we can see is that over a sort of a 2 to 3 hour period, we're getting 10 to 15 sales. Now, having a look at the buy now on OpenSea, we can see that to get to sort of 15 sales over a 3 hour period, it's not going to move the price too far. And then another thing to notice is that there's 782 items for sale. So the floor is quite thick where it currently is, and it's not moving too fast. And then with almost 10% of the supply having been listed, it shows that it's going to be very hard for the price to run up too much higher than that 8 ETH mark because of just where everyone has listed their Hypes. So when it comes down to Hypebeast, where do I see it going before the reveal? What I will say is that the drawing that I had predicted where we hit the sort of resistance at the 10 ETH mark, I think that resistance is now at the 8 ETH mark. The floor is quite thick, so I think to get above that 8 ETH mark, it is going to be too hard, and I think this is going to kind of get some people to kind of lower their price when it comes down to the secondary market. Because heading back over onto Icy Tools, you can see here that at the 8 ETH mark, even though it breached it once, we hit it once, then it rode it along for essentially like an 8 hour period and then dipped down, hit the 7, but then it's coming back up and touching that 8 ETH mark. So I think before the reveal, I don't think we're going to get too much higher than 8. But saying that, with the price of ETH kind of dropping, that may have a little bit of a spur on, but I don't see it rising too much higher than 8. So yes, my price prediction has changed. So if you knocked 2 off all of these prices, this is where I kind of see. Currently, we're sitting in the middle, and we've still got a couple more days to go, so that will play out. Now, one curveball that may actually get thrown into this when we get after reveal is the fact that Azuki has done absolutely insane. After the reveal, it has continued to run up. So there may be a case for there to be a quick wick down, but then the price to continue to rise afterwards. But this is contingent on the team actually executing on their plans, communicating with their holders, and actually running quite well. Where I think we're getting pre-reveal is the fact that a lot of people are waiting for the day of the pre-reveal to then sell. I think the psychology of the market knows that pre-reveal the day before is going to be the highest price. And because everyone's thinking this, everyone will then start to change their strategy. So in terms of where the highest price will come in, I don't think it will be the day before the reveal. I think it will be a couple of days beforehand, and you need to then front run the psychology of where people are and where people are wanting to sell, because everyone right now wants to sell the day before the reveal because that's where they think the highest price will be. But if everyone is thinking and trying to execute and do that, then the market will change. So without giving out financial advice, if you are thinking about offloading one of your NFTs, what I would suggest doing is thinking about how everyone else is acting, what everyone else is saying they will do. If everyone says that they're going to be selling at 10 ETH the day before the reveal, then 9 ETH the day before the day that they sell, that they say that they are going to sell, may be a better option. You need to front run the psychology of the market to actually get a better result. So what's going to happen with my 2 Hape Beast NFTs? I'm going to be holding one forever. I'm never going to let that go. That is the one that I'm going to be holding. The other one that I have, I will consider selling it before the reveal if news doesn't come out or the market sort of trends change. Saying that, I'm not against holding it through the reveal to kind of see if I do get something a little bit more rare, because that would also kill me watching something kind of run up, having sold something that is worth a lot more afterwards. And the fact that Azuki has had this crazy little run up post reveal makes me feel like the market sentiment has changed when it comes down to really good projects, and the fact that this could actually be a play afterwards is weighing on me a little bit. So when it comes down to what I'm doing, I'm not locked in stone with what I'm doing. I am very fluid. But saying that, I am very impressed with how the price has kind of stood up, and I'm very happy that the prediction that I did and the drawing that I actually made, how it kind of played out. Like I said, I had plenty of kind of people reaching out to me going, hey, you picked it. This isn't luck. This is seeing trends over and over again. If you look at the charts over and over and you educate yourself over and over by watching videos like this, you'll start to see the psychology and mentality of the market in play. You're not always going to get it to the second and to the dollar or ETH, but watching the trends over and over, you can start to see what happens and then start to kind of front run the psychology of the market to actually make better educated decisions. So overall, I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you didn't find value in it, hit up that like button and leave a bad comment below. As always, it's been a pleasure having you with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.